What's going on, guys? From the title of the video, you should be able to tell that we're talking about the 5 things that will make your guitar playing or any playing on any musical instrument sound 100% better. But before we get into this, make sure to hit that subscribe button if this helps you in any way possible, or if you just enjoy me talking, and hit a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions or you just want to talk to me, leave a comment and I am responding to every comment. So, what are the 5 things and what can you do to make them better and make your instrument sound better? So the very first thing is going to be articulation. So this is an instrument specific thing, but this can also apply to every instrument. So the first thing on the guitar is making sure that your left hand is as close to the metal rods at the end of the frets as possible. Because what happens is if you're on top of it, you get a muted sound. But when you get as close to it as possible, it sounds beautiful. Now, if you get far away from it, it starts to get muted again. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you're doing that, and also that you're pressing down with a firm amount of strength, right? All as close to it as possible. And if you notice right here, it looks like my finger's kind of touching it. That's because it is. But the pressure, the middle of the pressure is on the middle of my finger. So it's really, the pressure is right next to it, okay? The second thing is gonna be your right hand, okay? Your picking technique. When you pick, you're gonna wanna hold your pick as light as possible, almost to the point where if someone came up and touched it, it would fall out of your hand, okay? Now, as you're holding it as light as possible, you're gonna wanna attack as hard as possible, okay? So you're holding it as light as possible, but attacking as hard as possible. You should get a sound like this. Okay, it should sound beautiful. Okay, so those are the 2 things that you can do that are very instrument specific. Now we're gonna get into what can you do about your tone? Because the reality of guitar playing or any musical instrument is that there's 2 things that matter in order to be a great player. And not only a great player, but a heroic player, okay? A player that goes down in history. Number 1 is your tone, okay? This is so important. Why? Because it's the way in which you communicate. If you notice, I'm talking with a lot of energy, right? I'm talking in a higher kind of register in my voice. Why? Because this communicates the best message. And similarly, when you're on the guitar, you don't want to communicate a very shy message. So step 3 is play with confidence, okay? If you are playing with confidence, even if you're playing the wrong notes, it'll still sound good. Listen, I'm gonna play a bunch of wrong notes. Okay, a lot of those sounded great. Why? Because I was playing it with confidence, right? I was playing it with some energy. So many wrong notes, but it sounds okay. Why? Because I'm attacking it, I have courage, I am excited about it, and I'm not shy in my playing, right? Those sound a lot worse than if I was just going... Right, again, wrong notes, but what? It was shy. So that really deteriorates your message, right? If I was talking like this, terrible, absolutely terrible. No one wants to listen to you. It's hard to listen to you, and they don't believe in what you're saying, okay? So speak with confidence. Even if you're playing wrong things, play it with confidence, because odds are the people listening to you don't know music theory. They don't have an incredible ear. They're not gonna pick up when you play a wrong note every now and then. Okay, number 4, and this is a big one. Getting your tone right for the genre you're playing, okay? Now this can be, if you're a saxophone player, having an alto, having a tenor, even knowing how to play a bari, being able to play flute. But on the guitar, there's very specific things that we can do, right? We can flip to the bridge pickup, right? If we're playing rock and we're going for a rock solo and maybe we don't have distortion, right? Again, we're trying to focus on tone. So being tone specific within your instrument to the genre you're playing. This is tip number 4. So listen, if I was playing jazz, I would approach it with a lot darker tone, right? I'll go. It's probably a little bit too much. So I'm gonna find the sweet spots, right? Adjusting my volume a little bit, not having it all the way cranked up, and knowing your instrument so that you know where these things are. Right, that's a very bebop jazz tone. Right, very bebop, very jazz tone. Now, if I was on a rock gig and I went to go play a solo, I might throw it all the way to the bridge pickup. That sounds very Jimi Hendrix because that's the style. So knowing the tonality of your instrument and how to navigate that depending on the genre is so important. Why? Because bringing it back, right, to the first 3 points that we made, it's all about your tone, okay? And the last thing we're gonna talk about, tip number 5, is your amp, right? I'm sitting on a deluxe reverb, okay? You can't tell because I'm sitting on it, but I am sitting on a deluxe reverb. Now, my volume is at like 2. Why? Because I'm in a room right now, I'm really close to the camera, I'm not trying to blast it, right? Also, because, and this can go for other instruments when you're miking, stuff like that. If you have a saxophone, making sure you understand the right miking, but understand the amp and the microphones you're using. Why? Because you have to understand the instrument first, and then the thing that's projecting it, the amp, right? And how to navigate that tone. So if I'm playing rock, right? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna change maybe some settings on mine. So, right? So even though I was just playing some jazz chords, I turned up the treble on my deluxe reverb. Why? Because I understand that that's the type of tone that you're going for. So I hope that those helped so much. Thank you guys so much for listening. If this helped you in any way, subscribe to this channel right now. See you in the next one. Bye. Leave a comment.